So I give you another example using shortlet. Shortlet business, both in Africa, and I'm going to talk about the one right here in Canada, right? You could decide, and I'll give you an example of the one that happened to me. I owned a property, a beach home back in Lagos, originally where I'm from. And this beach property was so good. We spent two weeks or 3 weeks a year in this property, and then it's locked in for 49 weeks out of the year. Of course, there's a service charge, and that service charge is coming to us because it's 24-hour electricity, 24-hour water. All these things has been done by the estate, and we have to pay for it monthly. And I'm asking myself, why do I want to shut down my place and pay all of this infrastructure for not being there? And of course, anything could happen inside the property and all that, and I didn't want that to happen. So I decided to put it on somebody who already has invested straight in the middle capital to be able to put an infrastructure in place for someone to play, which is like Airbnb, which is like Property Center, which is like Booking.com, which is like Expedia. And I listed the property there as a shortlet. And people come in there, they book it, they pay me a tiny percentage, I get paid in dollars, they get to be able to stay there in all the way in Africa. And then of course, because that platform pays in dollars, I was able to be earning in dollars for the same property. And I thought that was good. This is becoming few thousands of dollars every single month. And I'm like, this makes sense. My best friend or my brother-in-law owns a property, my uncle-in-law owns a property in Lagos. He's always only there 2 weeks or 3 weeks in a year as well. How do I get into that place with no capital? I'm just giving you an example. But this particular situation, it wasn't my uncle-in-law. It's one of my neighbors that I know lives in Texas, owns a property, exactly the same situation where I'm in. And I walked up to him and said, hey, I know you locked up your place. There's sometimes damages in this place and you don't know. And you have to be paying the service charge and all these things every single month and you don't stay here. Why don't we get in an arrangement? I will take over this property. I will pay you a certain amount of money every single month because I've determined what that amount will be based on the fact that I have been there before and I already have an idea of what it will come. Of course, what I was paying him was like maybe 20 or 30% of the total revenue that we make out of this. You would invest in bringing the place up to standard and I will do the entire management. Of course, we go into an arrangement. We put all that place together. He gave me the keys. I did exactly what I did with mine. What I'm now doing is the property owner, this time is no longer the restaurant, the property owner I'm connecting them directly to guests. And I will now create the system in place that this can run independent of me, independent of him, and it will still generate us money. How? Smart question, how? First of all, there is an app or system that allows us to be able to do that. Airbnb can allow us to do that. Booking.com can allow us to do that. Expedia can allow us to do that. I list it on Expedia, which is one of the systems, right? Number one, the process. Number two, you need a cleaner to clean the place when everybody checks in and out. Number three, you need a manager who is checking the place, making sure money is going in, making sure the internet is paid, making sure the water is paid, the service charge is paid, DSTV, the TV itself is paid. All of this, you start to put them together, right? End of the day, you connect these guests to these properties. You're in the middle, you've listed it on Airbnb, Booking.com, whatever it is, you have the cleaners, you have the managers who is watching it. Every single time that is a $100 transaction, you now give the owner, I'm thinking $30, $40, right? The other $60 per day, then you pay for all of these processes. End of the day might take you maybe another $20 because labor is extremely cheap. You're walking away with $40, and then you probably need to be able to work 1 or 2 hours a day watching what these guys are doing. And then we just reproduce a lot of this. We just start approaching people we know that owns these properties and then, breaking and striking up the deal for them. Let's flip the coin the other way and say you are in the States or Canada. The question is, do you know somebody who is a snowbird, who only comes to Canada or lives in their own home 6 months or 9 months a year? It's rare, but it's possible. There's a lot of people who only stay around 6 to 9 months every single year. What happens to the property within the next 3 to 6 months out of the year? Can you approach them and say, hey, can I play with your property? And can I do something out of it? That's one way. Some of you say, that's a little bit difficult. Let me make it simple for you. Stay with me. Let me keep it simple. Maybe you say, well, I don't know snowbirds that only own property 6 months a year or 9 months a year and they get to be able to travel. How can I do it in another way? Do you live in North America or in Europe or somewhere like that and you have a property that you see and that property has, for some reason, is in a good location, is well put together, that you can approach the owner and say, hey, can I rent this place from you? Or can I take it off you for a certain amount of time? Or can we go into some partnership instead of you renting out your place? Goes to an agreement where I will manage this place for you. I will go into an agreement on a percentage basis of whatever we generate, a percentage goes to you, a percentage goes to me, and then you decide to put that place in a real good shape, put it back in one of this existing infrastructure, and then every single time you rent it out to somebody, a percentage goes to you, a percentage goes to the owner, and of course a percentage goes towards the processes and systems in place like cleaners and stuff like that, that could generate you income without you having to be able to put in your capital inside of it, or just because you did that. Let me make it very simple and plain. Some people do have properties downtown, overseeing the lake, overseeing the lake, overseeing the mountains in beautiful cities, and all they do, or just somewhere where they play a lot of football, or they play a lot of sports, and then all they do in those type of cities is they put the place in a nice place and people come to rent it. It might be people going to watch football. It might be people going to, come to watch Super Bowl, whatever it is. In my city, there are some properties very close to somewhere called Stampede. And those properties, because there's a lot of hockey going on, a lot of baseball going on, and there's this sporting event and people come in, they don't mind paying 100, 200, 150 to be able to stay in a place for one night, just a season when the game is going on. And I'm talking pre-COVID, post-COVID. And all you're doing is you take the property, you rent it for about $1,000, $1,500, you put it in a really good shape, and then you put it back in the market that somebody could be able to earn money doing that. Let me give you another example. We've gone from drop shipping to restaurants to shotlets, and now I want to give you a very, very basic example. I've been approached with this whole idea of sweet in the middle because I can see the spots. Even in the ATM business. And I'm going to give you a lot of examples where companies already have people who have the ATMs. They already have the investors who's put it in, and they're just looking for somebody who is going to go out there and help them find locations. So your job is to find locations. They will give you their materials, you send it to an hotel, you now ask for the manager of the hotel, you have a conversation with the manager of the hotel, and you tell them, listen, can we place whatever in here, this company is going to do it, this is a percentage they're taking, almost all that. You set the processes, what day they will come, how they will be paid, what the process would be, and then you completely make sure that you have conversation with where the resources is coming, meaning those who are going to own the machines, and you have all that conversation going on, and once you're done, they place those machines inside those hotels. So what you've done right now is you're connecting, what you're doing in this situation is you're connecting hotels, ATMs, to guests, clients who come in there. So they can pool funds and you're getting paid a little tiny percentage of doing that. So the question is, how do you do this? It's very simple. And I'm going to go a little bit into that example in place. There are companies which I can recommend to you guys. And for those of you who have bought this course on Instagram, my Instagram handle is IamAdemabo. Come in there, ask me, how do I get companies that can let me go just find locations for them? It could be restaurants, it could be bars, it could be hotels, it could be, as long as it's 24 hours, it's safe, right? That you have access to. Maybe your friends owns the restaurant, maybe your friends owns the hotel, maybe it's a condominium building. These companies would, once you can start brokeraging the systems and the processes in place, they will put in the resources for the ATMs in there, they will refill it, and then they will pay you a tiny percentage for giving them that location on every transaction that goes in there. Do you need to own the machine? No. Do you need to own the location? No. All you've done is connect A to B and ask for a percentage in a contract for every transaction that goes in there. So do you have a friend who owns an hotel? Do you have a friend who is related to somebody who has a condo or a building or something, or some type of business that requires some form of cash, and you want to be able to know a company that can be able to let you be able to connect A to B. So I want to get you back into the process of thinking. The process of thinking that, is there a way I can connect A to B and get paid? And I can go on and on and on and on and on with the examples. I give you an example. Somebody yesterday was telling me about hotels that were in their city that didn't have restaurants in this period of COVID. And guests come in, they need water, they need this, they need that, and they just don't have it one way or the other. And they have like a restaurant, like it's not McDonald's, it's something like KFC, but it's not directly KFC. And now the person is coming to me and saying, can I create a little flyer, put it in every single room in your hotel, and if guests come in and they need water, maybe cookies, maybe cakes, maybe pies and stuff like that, they could pre-order it, make a payment from their phone. The pre-order comes to his own phone, and then he could directly connect that to the fast food restaurant, and they could deliver to that room and drop it on the floor, or drop it in front of the place, or drop it right in front of the room. And this is all this COVID period where they can connect A to B, because the people that are quarantining in this hotel don't have restaurants that they can go to because they're isolated, but they can place order from their phone and the thing will come directly to them, and he can get paid a little tiny percentage for putting the processes, systems, procedures, and resources together. That's that. Give you another example. Be thinking about the systems, the processes that you need to be able to do. Somebody says, my son wants to learn a language, local language, maybe Spanish. Okay. I know a Spanish teacher. Okay. I know a lot of people who speak Spanish and English, and they can teach in Mexico. And there's a lot of people that are in Canada or in the US that wants to learn that language. Why don't I create a little system, a process? This, you don't even have to create a website or anything. Just through Zoom, where you can pay to learn Spanish at a certain amount of money, maybe $10 an hour, and I can go to these people and say, why don't I pay you $6 an hour, meet us on Zoom, X amount of time, and help us teach these kids Spanish for a certain amount of time in a week or in a month, and then you get X, you pay Y, and then you stay in the middle and get paid a little tiny percentage inside of it. This is the educational industry. I've gone from multiple industries back to back. So if you tell me an industry and I can see that it can make money, A and B can make money, the question is, how do I put myself in the equation and get paid doing this? That is the whole idea of sweat in the middle. When you don't have capital, you should be able to have creativity, because when you have creativity, you can use your sweat equity to be able to get in. And I'll tell you guys in final closing up, most of you don't know, and now maybe you might know, I got involved in direct sales, and I do have a direct sales business alongside so many that I have or I've been gotten involved in. And this is why I got involved in direct sales. My direct sales company, what they do is exactly what we call sweat in the middle. They connect A to B. So on this one side, and I want to show you guys very briefly what we did in the direct sales, so you can understand how this could work in another industry. You pay a certain amount of money, maybe $200, own a license. This company has found a way to connect with wireless companies, wireless providers, not just in Canada, somewhere like TELUS, like AT&T, like Virgin, like Vodafone, etc. They connected with energy company, electricity and gas. They connected with TV company for customers. You buy a license from this company for like $200. Your job is you want to be able to create a system, processes, and procedures to have customers or clients who already use all of these services anyways, and connect them to these companies. So if I connect David to a TV company in the UK, this TV company should pay me a tiny percentage for doing that. And that tiny percentage will be in two forms. One is the royalties, and the other is in residual bonus or residual / bonuses. And I'm going to explain how that is in the future. So David is my friend. I'm helping these companies to eliminate every form of advertising, marketing, all this sending mails into the box and people throwing them away. And I'm just connecting David directly, eliminating all that the middle, because I'm now the middle, and now they're paying me a little tiny percentage, and I get a right. It's called a micro franchise right, with companies that offers electricity, gas, cell phone, TV, all these essential service people do, and I connect A to B. Do I need the capital to be able to invest in owning a franchise to a wireless company? So take, for example, a wireless company like Rogers Mobile in Canada will cost you at least $150,000 to own the franchise. In the United States, to buy AT&T will cost you at least $100,000 to be able to own the franchise. But now, without having that capital, I'm going to go do the work of putting the system, process, and procedures in place that I'll connect A to B, and then they can pay me a tiny percentage on that bill. How do I do that?